This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar or become a show sponsor. To learn more, visit our website. This is the first of a two-part series on making mango coconut cupcakes. Cupcakes are traditionally chocolate or vanilla, but I decided to add a tropical theme, and I'm making today the cupcake part, which is a mango cake, and then in our next episode I'll be making the delicious mango coconut frosting that goes on top. We're going to start by getting our 12-cup muffin pan ready. And I'm going to go ahead and line each of the wells with a paper liner. And then to make sure that they release really easily should the cupcakes sort of bake onto the pan, I'm just going to take some of my baking spray and I'm just going to lightly spritz the top. Now I'm going to set this aside and get my mango ready. Now there's a couple of ways you can go with your mango. If you have fresh mango and it's totally ripe, you can absolutely use that. I couldn't find one at the store, so I'm using frozen mango, and what I did is I defrosted it in the refrigerator overnight, and now I'm going to puree it. Now I'm going to use my little mini prep here, but you could certainly use a blender or just mash it up with your fork if you like. I'm going to put some of that mango in, and then I'm just going to start chopping that up till it's totally fine. Now we don't want to see any chunks of mango, so if you have a look and you see some chunks, just get a little spatula, kind of scrape that down, and continue pulsing it until it's totally smooth. And I'm going to measure out 1 cup of mango puree. And now we're going to get our dry ingredients ready. Now for these cupcakes, we're actually going to be using cake flour. And if you can't find cake flour where you live, go to our website and I have a recipe how you can create that at home. And I'm going to stir it up, kind of lighten the flour because it's been sitting in my canister for a bit. And then I'm going to measure out 2 3/4 cups of cake flour. I'm going to put that in a medium-sized bowl. Then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then with my little whisk, I'm going to whisk those ingredients together. It's important we get that baking powder and salt throughout the cake flour. Now I'm going to take 6 tablespoons of butter and I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise twice. And then I'm going to run my knife through it to create these little pieces like this. It creams up really well when you do that. And now I'm going to take the butter and put that in my mixer bowl and start that creaming. And once that starts breaking down, I'm going to add to that 3/4 cup of sugar. And I'm going to let this mix together until it's light and fluffy, and that'll take about 2 minutes. Now I'm going to add my mango puree along with 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And now I'm going to let that cream up together. Now as that's coming together, you're going to see that some of the butter is kind of sticking to the sides of the bowl. So at this point I'm going to scrape it down, and then I'll go ahead and continue mixing it. That butter and the mango, I need it to all come together. Now once there's no more butter on the sides of the bowl, I'm going to take 2 eggs and I'm going to drop them in one at a time, making sure that they mix up really well before I add the second one. Now once the eggs are mixed in, it's time to add our dry ingredients. I'm going to stop the mixer and pour that all in. And then I'm going to let this mix just until I don't see any more of the dry ingredients. And again, I may scrape down the bowl about halfway through. And there is some flour on the sides of the bowl, and I want to make sure that gets totally mixed in. So I'll give that a scrape and just let it go for another few seconds. I'm going to give it one last scrape down with my spatula. And then it's time to fill our muffin wells. Now I'm using my medium scoop because I do want to put a little bit of batter in all 12 of the muffin wells. Then once I have a little bit in each well, then I can go back and divide the rest of it up. And then once the wells are all filled up, I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I'm going to start these baking between 18 and 20 minutes. At the 18-minute mark, I am going to take them out and test them with a toothpick to be sure that they're done. If they're not, then I'll let them go another 2 minutes. So I'm going to let these rest in the pan for about 5 minutes. Now after 5 minutes, the cakes have sort of set up enough where we can take them out, and I just use a fork and lift them out and put them on my cooling rack. And in our next episode, I'm going to make the mango coconut frosting that goes on top of these. Now if you want to get the recipe for the whole thing, just go to our website and go to the Cupcake show notes. And as always, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.